guys, so welcome back to Final Word Wrestling Podcast. This is the third episode, I believe. So, around a week ago, we did the AEW Fyter Fest Night 1 review. Today's Tuesday, so I did it last Thursday, so I think it's like 5 days. So today we're going to be going over New Japan. So, they've been doing their own thing over there. They've been reopening in Japan apparently, so they did their New Japan Cup. We're up to the finals, and it's Okada versus Evil. And this is just gonna kind of be my outlet to talk about how I feel about the current state of New Japan. So let's just start with the New Japan Cup. So Sonata, before now, because he's eliminated, he had this story, and it was brought up like every single year, because I remember for the past couple of years I've been really, ever since the beginning of 2018, I've been hardcore into New Japan. So I haven't watched every match, but I watch all like the ones that you'll see that's like 8 stars or higher on Cage Match, 8 out of 10 or higher. So and obviously Sonata's been in some of those matches, so you'll always hear the commentators when it's in the New Japan Cup, they'll be like, he's gone one step farther every year. Because I wasn't there at the beginning of this thing, so I don't know how exactly true that is, but I believe it because they wouldn't lie to me. So, if Sonata has truly been making it one step farther every year, then last year he lost in the finals. The year before he lost in the semis. I do remember that. So, this would have been the perfect time. This year would have been the perfect time for him to challenge Naito. And I was originally thinking, because the traditional thing is you challenge for one title. And so I was thinking that you would have, if you guys remember, Undisputed Era had a similar kind of, not similar because it might not happen LIJ, but the Undisputed Era had like a little bit of like fighting amongst each other, and then they finally got back together. But I felt like that would have been so perfect if Sonata had won the New Japan Cup here, because I'm not really sure. I'll give you guys my opinion about what they're probably doing, my prediction. But originally what I was thinking is you have Sonata beat Okada in the finals, because without Switchblade, without Suzuki, I just couldn't see how the hell that he wasn't going to face Okada in the finals. Because originally I was thinking actually Sonata Suzuki. That was my original prediction. I have it written down, but I'm not going to pull it up. It's going to be too long. Originally I had Sonata defeating Suzuki in the finals, but obviously Okada, by the time we got to like the quarterfinals, you knew Okada's coming out of that side. And so I thought if Sonata would beat Okada, that would kind of be redemption for last year. That would further his push. And then he goes on to challenge Naito for the Intercontinental Championship. So, I didn't talk about this yet, but I felt like the double gold dash, I think that's what it was called, for Wrestle Kingdom 14. It was, I had mixed feelings about it, because it's great that they're chasing after the 2 titles, but the only problem is, Ibushi won the G1. So he should have the full advantage. I mean, him and the champion should be like at the top, right? So it was the main event of the first night, but I don't really know, man. Like the fact that then, because if you think about it this way, even if Ibushi won the first night, he could just drop the title the next night to Naito. So then, in reality, the G1 isn't a huge advantage, because then you have to defend the title even if you win it on the second night. So it takes away from some of the advantages, in my opinion, of winning the G1. And then the result is, obviously, if Naito did not win the double gold dash, that's it. He's stuck in the mid-card forever. You could call it, a career for him as a main event guy. Really. I don't think there is really any recovering from that. So thankfully he did win. So, but the only problem is now he's holding 2 titles. So now he's either got to defend both at the same time, which is going to decrease the prestige of both titles, or he's got to pull double duty, which is knowing about the history of safety in New Japan and in Japanese wrestling in general. You like, if you listen to a lot of people that have worked there, like Shinsuke Nakamura, they'll tell you it's not the safest thing. So for that, so it's okay for, obviously the wrestling matches over there, and people get seriously injured sometimes, like Hiromu did. Like I think he broke his neck, right? For a Naito case though, if you want him to pull double duty, that is significantly increasing the risk of injury. And if he does get injured, then he has to vacate both titles, and that's an even bigger disaster. So now we're in this situation where someone's got to take one title off him, right? And it's going to be the same thing with NXT right now with, Keith. Listen, I know that people have been saying, oh, there's two endings, this and that. Fucking, people in WWE responding to that leak saying, oh, there's two endings, so you have to find out which one it is. Okay, so I've heard people like JD from NY say, he has said that he's been to NXT and there has been two endings to something. So, I mean, I don't know why that is. Is it because they just switched their creative decision, their direction? But, he said, when I was listening to him talk about this, he said he doesn't believe that, I forgot which member of Indus Share it was, but one of them leaked the ending, and he said he doesn't believe that it was an accident. He thinks it's to get more attention away from AEW, but personally for me, I think that they're newer and it could very well be an accident. So that's my opinion, but I'm not denying the fact that the other side could be wrong, right, that it could be right. So what I'm thinking is, whatever happens, whether it be Keithley or Adam Cole, I mean, I think that Keithley, I'm going to talk about NXT a little bit here. Keithley has to win, because if Adam Cole wins, where do you go from here? He's faced everybody except Karrion Kross, right? Dijakovic, we don't know what's happening with him. Is he going to the main roster? Is he staying? We haven't seen him. So, but if he comes back, I don't know how he's really going to be built up. So, for now, I'm basically thinking he's gone from NXT, because everybody's been saying main roster for him, and hopefully Vince doesn't ruin him. But he's big, and actually, I like what he's doing. He's a great worker. I really like that tall, athletic build. The Dijakovics, the Priests, the Luchasauruses, the Wardlows, people like that. Wardlow is a little bit more of like a power guy, but I really like the guys that can like strike and do all that kind of athletic stuff at the height of like 6'5", 6'6", that kind of thing. Oh, and like Keith Lee, for example, is another example. So, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, so if Adam Cole wins, he's gonna have to get squashed by Karrion Kross. Then you ruined Adam Cole's whole title reign in less than probably like 7-8 minutes. Because if you remember, Ciampa got squashed. So what is here preventing Adam Cole from getting squashed? It doesn't make sense. So Keith Lee has to win, kind of. If Keith Lee wins, then he goes on to be the one to face Karrion Kross in the end, unless there's somebody else that comes along first. But it looks like Keith Lee will eventually drop one of the titles, probably the NXT Championship, to Karrion Kross. So that would make a little bit more, because Keith Lee, because he's bigger than Karrion Kross, they're around the same height. I'm not sure if he's shorter or taller or what, but he's not just going to get tossed around like a rag doll like Adam Cole would by Karrion Kross. So at least they would give Keith Lee a sense of legitimacy and be able to give Karrion Kross the NXT or North American Championship. So, but you can see with NXT, they had a kind of way out of the double title thing. And I really hate that they're doing all this double title stuff. I'm not a fan of double title holders typically. The and honestly, at this point, you could tell AEW has them on strings. NXT is a reactionary show. They're doing everything to match AEW. It's not because it fits in their own story. It's because they want to combat AEW. So which is funny to me because AEW is winning the ratings. I mean, the demographic ratings. So NXT, yes, they won the overall ratings, but then when they don't have this kind of thing to combat AEW, these double championship matches, this and that, then they're gonna lose inevitably, like they typically have been, and also their product doesn't get helped by these double championship matches. Sure, it's a nice, it's a nice one-off match, but it's like jacking off. What the hell happens after? You feel guilty. Same thing here. That your stories have it's not as fluid as it usually should be. So, well, no comparison I'm trying to make is yes, you enjoy the moment, but then afterwards you're gonna have to deal with the consequences. And as for New Japan, I'm scared because how are they gonna deal with this? Because Naito has to drop one of the titles. If you have him drop both, I don't know, what are you going to do? Unify the championships? That's not a good idea. The Intercontinental Championship actually had some prestige when back in the Nakamura days, and then it decreased, but then it kind of came back. So for you to now unify the championships, now you destroyed that, and the IWGP Heavyweight Championship is currently probably the most, in my opinion, the most prestigious title in wrestling. So if you're going to unify them, then you're kind of destroying the prestige of both titles. And then if you're just going to throw away one, I don't understand the point of that. So he has to drop one of them, and I was thinking that Sonata would be the perfect guy. And this would also tell a story of LIJ dominating while also maybe incorporating some matches in between them. Because then you have, if Sonata beats Naito for the Intercontinental Championship, then you have him as the Nakamura to Naito's Okada, right? And he's now solidified as an upper mid-card guy that can advance to the main event scene. Then you can have Evil, and I know this is gonna ruffle some feathers, but hear me out. I think that Evil should have, after Sonata beat Naito for the Intercontinental Championship, I guess they could do this the other way around too, but I think Sonata, it would be a better story because he has gone one step further and now it's ruined. So I was thinking that Evil should win the United States Championship. Now I know there's going to be that asshole that says, well, the United States Championship is meant for Americans. Really? So then why did Switchblade Jay White hold the title? Why was Kenny Omega holding the title? Kenny Omega is Canadian, he was born in Canada, and he's a Japanese citizen. Switchblade Jay White is a New Zealander. So, I mean, yes, you can have Moxley and Juice Robinson and Cody hold it. That's fine. But the Switchblade and Kenny Omega have no business holding the title. Yeah, well, so now you gotta tell me, is this really a United States Championship, or is it the white person championship? This is now turned into the white person championship that it's about race, and that's not right. So, well, my idea is you give the United States Championship to Evil. You have, well, Shingo's never champion. You have Hiromu as the junior weight champion. You could, I mean, they're holding the number 6-man belts. I don't think they need the tag belts. I mean, they're basically useless at this point in New Japan. They're held by, I think, Tanahashi and Ibushi, not even a real tag team. So, I think that here's another story that just kind of tells itself. You have LIJ just dominating. You have, it basically, it can be compared to Chaos. You have Naito as the Okada. You have Sonata as the Nakamura. You have Shingo as the Ishii and the Goto, and you have, well, Hiromu's better than any, I mean, at least, oh, well, I guess you could say Hiromu's like the Osprey, right? So you can kind of compare it to Chaos in a way. And you can kind of have them dominate, which I think this is what a lot of people wanted 2 years ago, but you actually have a really nice story here, and you could tell it right here. But here's the thing, though. I mentioned the tag belts, so I wanted to touch on this because their tag team division is it's bad beyond belief. They have Tanahashi and Ibushi. They have Juice and Finley, who they're just eh. Tama's left God. It's now Tongalo and Hikuleo. And so you lost a crucial member there. I don't know how good Hikuleo is, but it's going to be kind of a restart button for God and Bullet Club. A little, not so much Bullet Club, but definitely for the Guerrillas of Destiny team and for Tongaloa. It's a reset, and I mean, I don't know who Evil and Sonata, but they're kind of not really together that much no more. So who do you have now? Do you have a team that you're going to bring in? Is it going to be Gallows and Anderson? Even if you do bring them in, who do they have to compete with? Juice and Finley? They're not a top tier team. I don't understand. You can have Gallows and Anderson knock off Tanahashi and Ibushi. Ibushi turns heel, which is where it looks like it's going at this point. Ibushi versus Tanahashi, bam. So you have a lot of nice singles feuds, but you have nothing for the tag division. Unless you're going to bring another team in after WWE has released all these people, but it seems like they might be going to other places. So where does that leave New Japan's tag division? Like, they're basically the only tag division I can think of that's in a worse state is WWE, which, you know, I've ranted about this before. They just don't know how to book their tag division. New Japan is not a problem. They don't know how to book their tag division. They're not as good as AEW at it, but they're solid. But they don't have the personnel. So, you know, when they're last year when they imported Kenta, Moxley, they had Shingo come in. You had all these different people. I feel like now looking back, what if that was a missed opportunity to create new teams? At this point, New Japan's junior tag division is better than their heavyweight tag division. If you think about it, because the junior tag division, it's got I forgot what their team name is, but you got Eagles and Osprey, you got El Phantasmo and Taiji Ishimori, you have Roppongi 3K, I think that you have you could team like Hiromu Bushi, you have I'm blanking. The Suzuki team, I believe it's Kanemaru and Desperado. So you have actually a few teams to work with there. The heavyweight tag division is nothing. So I'm now looking back, was it a missed opportunity? But now again, I look back, you're bringing in all these singles talents. They have singles talents. So this is going to bring us to another problem. But they should have been more focused on. Sorry, I'm just moving something around. They should have been more focused on importing tag teams. That would have been, because AEW was starting and all these teams was leaving, that would have been opening the door for a revived tag division. You already have enough singles guys that are in there for now to keep a good amount of stuff going. The problem is they have no mid-card, and there hasn't been a top-tier homegrown talent in a long time. If you think about it, right? Tanahashi, Nakamura, Okada, Jay White, they all came out the dojo. The last top star to come out of the dojo was Switchblade Jay White. That was, and even Jay White, though, he's a great performer. Don't get me wrong, his character is great. His in-ring work is very good, but it's not Tanahashi level. It's not Okada level. It's not Ibushi level. Those guys are on a different level because Switchblade Jay White, I can't be the only one that feels like this. His matches they feel segmented. It's like it's like a throwing move. He goes for the cover, and then you have to, it's like, instead of having it flow smoothly into like running the ropes and strikes and the usual match flow, you're just seeing throwing move after throwing move. And that's how I feel about Jay White. So even with him, it's a bit of a struggle. So now my question is, if they can't rely on just importing people, because that would be like a sports team solely relying on free agency, right? It's not going to help you in the long run. Well, it might, but it's not going to be as good as you growing your own talent. Juice Robinson came out of the dojo, but he's stuck in the lower mid card. And at this point, now it's just in the mid card. You added Shingo, but he's clearly destined for the upper mid card. At least if you ask me, the dude has been putting on all these amazing matches. I don't think he's gonna stay there forever. And if he does, then you just ruined him, because then he turned into the Goto, the Ishii of LIJ. Suzuki's here. You could give him a push into the upper mid card. I don't really know what the deal with Suzuki is. He's not really around as much. I don't know if it's because he's getting older, but there's definitely a need for a strong mid card, which is not there. Their main event scene is great. You have Tanahashi, Ibushi, Okada, Naito, Switchblade, Jay White. You have you could even put Ospreay in there sometimes. I think he's like one of those guys that you could bring from the junior division. He fought in the G1, so I think he's capable of it. You have, you can slot Suzuki in if you need to, but the mid card is really lacking, because now it seems like there's no mobility between the main event scene and the upper mid card and the mid card, because Goto and Ishii, they've been stuck in the mid card since I can remember, and there's not like there's people coming from the main event scene winning mid card championships like that. So it's a little bit. I guess Ospreay and Ibushi did feud over it, but it wasn't like they're consistent. Like they were there for any more than just a few months. So it's like the mid card is super lacking. They bring in this guy. He just debuted a few days ago, Master Wato. All right, so I had to ask, when you see a blue ninja looking like a fucking anime character walk onto your TV screen, how are you supposed to feel? And it's a wrestling show, for crying out loud. What am I supposed to think? How am I supposed to take this guy seriously if he's doing fucking ninja poses with a blue outfit, like blue hair, like with a weird ass facial expression? I can't buy into this, right? I'm one of those wrestling fans that's willing to give things a chance. Well, by the looks of it, I don't know. I really don't know what the hell this is. This is your next new talent? Is this your next homegrown top guy? Because if this is the gimmick you got him stuck with, oh boy, it's going to be a long road. Unless you really somehow turn this around, which, if there is somebody capable of doing it, it's New Japan and Gato with his booking. But it's not like Gato's going to manage him like he did Okada. Okada's gimmick was at first but Gato was able to help him turn it around and combine with Okada to his in-ring ability. He's the best wrestler in the world, so it worked. But even Okada, you could look at him and there's got some substance to it. When you look at Switchblade Jay White, it's got substance behind the gimmick. Naito, all these different guys. Ibushi, right? Ibushi, he doesn't really have like a name that really describes his character. Yes, he's a golden star, but doesn't really describe his in-ring stuff. But that you just need to watch and you see the character shows itself to you. But when you have a blue ninja, I can't imagine myself saying, Master Wato versus Kazuchika Okada for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. I can't imagine that. I can't imagine him versus Naito for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. It's like nothing about him is nothing about him. I sense is spelling main event. Everything spells disaster because I don't know. It's a gut feeling because I think that if you bring in like a name like Okada or something, or even like you could take another example from say somebody who's in the mid card right now. Okay, Zack Sabre Jr. He's not there totally a lot, but he's somewhere around that level. He hasn't won a lot of championships, but he's around that level for sure. Zack Sabre Jr. You can imagine Zack Sabre Jr. if he, especially if he got a little stronger, you can imagine his look and his style and the name Zack Sabre Jr. versus, say, I don't know. You could imagine that versus. I mean, that's actually another name that should be in the mid, more involved in the mid card scene, but he's not. But you can imagine him versus Sonata for the Intercontinental Championship, him versus Tanahashi for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. That is something where I can see that something can come out of it. This Master Wato thing, it's not one of those things. And the hair just looks like a blob on his head. It's just dyed blue. I don't know. Listen, I'm somebody that is really typically open to get like new gimmicks. When the Fiend first started, when he first was doing the I forgot what they call it, the Mr. Whatever the hell it was. He was basically like a cartoon TV character almost a little bit. I gave it a chance because I knew I could see something there. There's a place for you to go there, you know. But with Master Wato, I don't, you know. So it goes back to the same thing. Who are you gonna groom as your next main event guy? Moxley's the IWGP United States Championship. He's not even there. So is the United States Championship now losing prestige? Is the entire mid-card scene just completely gone? Right? So I think that New Japan is in. When you look at it from just a general standpoint, it doesn't seem like they're in a lot of trouble. But when you look at it in detail, you start to see, oh my God, their mid-card is in a whole lot of shit. And they don't have that next guy that's coming. At least not as far as I see it. I know I've heard about the guys at Shibata's training in LA. I think it's Clark Connors, Alex Coughlin, Carl Fredericks, and there might be one other guy, I forgot. And there's, you know, the guy that Moxley was with for a while. He was Moxley's young boy. I think it was Shota Umino or something like that. I've heard of these guys, but I mean, where are they? You know, if they're your next big thing, where are they? I don't see it. So you need to have these kind of guys coming in more often that you groomed. Now, even with the guys that they're bringing in, Kenta and Moxley, they kind of just it's not as bad as what WWE would do to that kind of thing in this kind of situation, but they don't have that special feel no more. You know, when Moxley and Kenta first came in, it was like, oh my God. Now they're just kind of they're just kind of there. They don't feel important. Kenta feels like it. Kenta's given, you know, important storylines like the one with Naito, but it's not like this is something that I really need to get invested in. So that's just my current opinion on New Japan. Guys, thanks for watching, and I don't know when the next podcast is going to be. I might do a Fyter Fest Night 2 review, but I'll catch you guys next time.